which is exactly how to not get a woman. Hi everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Charlotte and today we are going to talk about the 10 books that I read in May. My dog also wants to join, so that's fun. Also cheers, I'm very thirsty. I read 10 books. One of them is, I did categorize it as a soft DNF, but I think it's just going to be a full-on DNF. But we'll talk about that in a second. And I'm just going to go through them in the order that I read them because that is the easiest for my brain. My brain just likes it like that, you know? So the first one that I read in May was Strangers by Belle Burden. Now this is a memoir, so I didn't give it a rating because it feels weird rating someone's memoir. It's like I'm rating their life or their tragedy, which this is, because this one, it is about Belle and her husband. And right at the start of COVID, they go to Martha's Vineyard to like ride out the, I was about to say isolation, which isn't the correct thing, but ride out the quarantine. They were quarantining in Martha's Vineyard and she thought that everything was like handy dandy Gucci, you know, everything was. And then after being there for not long at all of a sudden she figures out that her husband has cheated on her and then he decides to leave her for this woman. You get to follow along you get to hear about parts of their love story where she kind of interprets things that he is doing or saying earlier on as him protecting her and taking care of her, but you know, hindsight is 2020, things she should have done differently or things she shouldn't have agreed to. And then you also get to hear about him. He really wanted to tell everyone that it was an amicable breakup. And she said no. She's like, no, fuck it. Everybody's going to know what you did and what you decided to do to your family. And that is kind of the story that you go along with. You learn, I mean, you learn a lot about yourself in this period of time. But I also think you can learn a lot about how other people handle these situations, right? It's a delicate situation. It's a very good memoir, so if you do like those types of books, I would highly recommend reading it, just because it's weird reading it, not just because I mean you're reading it from her point of view, but she's not trying to make herself like the full-on victim. She does try and take accountability or try and look at things differently, but while you're at it, you know, when you're in it, it's hard to look at things a certain way because all you feel is betrayed. So that was the first one that I read. The second one is the third book. Third book. What number is it? I'm gonna check what number you are. That's the second one. It's the third one, right? Yeah. Dungeon, the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook. Dungeon Crawler Carl Matt Dinneman. It's the third book. It's a series, so I'm not going to go too deeply into what this book is about, but basically Dungeon Crawler Carl is a lit RPG, which means a literary, I was about to say random number generator, but that's not a role-playing game. That is what I was trying to mean. It's a literary role-playing game. Now, Carl, he ends up in basically a dungeon crawl. He needs to survive through every floor so that he can, well, get out alive. This is an intergalactic game show, and Carl just happened to end up becoming a contestant together with his ex's cat, which is Princess Donut. Princess Donut is a fan-freaking-tastic character. I love her to bits. She is perfection. If you like books that has a lot of whimsical, because the books are very whimsical, there is a lot of things that happen in them that is, well, game-like, because it is a game. It reflects a lot on a lot of the things that happen in the world today. Like, it takes them Fit and Fresh type of podcasts. They have like one of those segments in them. They have talk shows. They have this, they have that. So there is a lot of like things from Earth, if you want to say that, that's also put into this universe, and that is used to make the game better. I don't really know how to explain it without spoiling too much. Now, oh Jesus Christ. Is there one more? Okay, now we know that I get the messages at least if something were to happen. That's the sound my phone is going to make if something happens. Anywho, what was I saying? We read Yesteryear. This was not necessarily an anticipated read, because I think I was pretty late to the game to actually knowing that this was coming out. But as soon as I heard about it, as soon as I knew what it was, I knew I had to read it. I knew I had to read it. This one is about Natalie, and Natalie is a full-fledged influencer. She's not a content creator, she is an influencer. Every piece of content she makes is to inspire or irritate people. I'm just saying I'm saying she's not a content creator, because it doesn't always feel when you're reading the book like she's just trying to be a content creator. It really feels like influencer is the brand she's going for. Now, this is the book where you read a little bit about her being in today's society, and then one day she wakes up and she is in the 1800s. It's 1850, I think, 1855, something like that, when she wakes up. And you, together with her, have to try and figure out what is happening, why is she there, is this a game show, is someone tricking her, what's going on, to figure it out. Now, you do learn a lot about her, and I know some people really didn't like it because Natalie isn't likable. This doesn't have a likable narrator, but I think that's kind of the point. You're not supposed to like her. I kind of kept on saying that it feels like a car crash. You know you're not supposed to look, but you can't really look away. That is how Natalie made me feel as well. I was so wondering what was going on in her head and how she got where she got and how she did what she did. And I was also wondering how she was going to get back to today's society. So I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4.75. I had so much fun. Now, if you go into this thinking that you're just going to read like most of the book, which is going to be back in time, like back to the 1800s type of thing, that's not it. You do get a lot of backstory on how she grew up and how she met her husband and what she thinks about her husband and stuff like that. Personally, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was super fun. It was also very fun to have a narrator that isn't a reliable narrator, and it's not a likable narrator. And also, like, everything that's going on inside her head, it's not filtered. So if she is having a reaction, you learn about it. If she is comparing herself to somebody else, you learn about it. And I just thought it was super fun. And it's going to get turned into a movie. I think Anne Hathaway has the rights and it's going to be the lead as well. Don't really know. But I did enjoy it. And actually, I thought the writing in it was also pretty beautiful. So I ended up tabbing it. So, on bad days, hope is a 4-letter word that floats limply in my thoughts. For me, that's also a bad day. So, you know, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was super fun. It's a little bit different because I usually read like romance books, sports romance books. This was a little bit different. I had a lot of fun with it. And then after that one, I went into the Blue, which I thought was going to be amazing. I really thought that was going to get scored high from me. Now, sitting here, I can remember his name was Noah, I think. I cannot remember her name. I cannot remember her name. And I was almost halfway through and then I DNF'd it. I said it was going to be a soft DNF because I just had a hard time getting into the story. I had a hard time really caring about the characters and caring about where things were going. But like the longer I'm away from it, I don't really see myself going back to it. I don't really want to go back to it for several reasons. I didn't really care about the characters. I didn't really see myself really wishing that the characters were doing good and that they got back together and I was wishing them well and all of that stuff. Also, it's written in third person, which sometimes it really drags me in. Sometimes it just kind of ruins the book for me. it's kind of back and forth with that one. And I think the fact that it was written in third person just made me feel like someone was telling me the story rather than I'm there with them in the story, if that makes sense. Now, I know a lot of people love this book. They say that the yearning and the angst and this and that, personally, just didn't really care about them. I didn't get hooked at them as characters. I understand that they are flawed and that things are happening and all of that. I just didn't really care. Like there weren't anything with them that made me wanna stick around. And the fact that this story now isn't even sitting with me kind of just solidifies that it should just be a full-on DNF. Because why would I keep on reading something where I know I have to reread the part that I didn't like? So no, it's gonna be a DNF. It's gonna be a DNF. Then we went over to Half a City by Kate Golden. Now this is a fantasy book that I can get behind. This one is about Viv Abbott. Viv is a demon slayer, and there are different types of demon slayers, and she is the type that gets her abilities before she's 21. But those are also supposed to be instinct. They're not supposed to be around anymore, so she can't tell anyone that she's a demon slayer. Well, she can't really tell people, like, to begin with, but she can't tell people that are demon slayers that she is that type of demon slayer, because that will get her into trouble. Now, she used to demon slay with her dad. Her dad got murdered, sadly. And then she starts at Harker Academy. What does it say? Harker Academy for Deviant Defense, where she also meets other demon slayers. And it's ironically also where her dad went to school. So she's trying to figure out who did what and why. This is supposed to be a duology. The next one is coming out, I think, in September or something. I had so much fun. I really, really, really enjoyed this. I clocked who the bad guy is. Like, I had like a little inkling. Didn't really mind it. Didn't mind that I could kind of pinpoint who it was. Didn't do any, like, it didn't make the story any worse for me. The ending of it, I am so eager for the next one. You don't even know. I did also listen to this as an audiobook. I didn't just read it. And in the audiobook, there is one specific character that gets a different voice. Like, there's one narrator that reads the entire book until one character shows up, and that character has a different voice. So I'm wondering if that is a little hint of what's to come, or if it's a mix-up. I don't really know. I don't understand why this one character gets his own voice, but everybody else gets read by the same person. Like, I have no idea. But I'm hoping it's a little bit of foreshadowing. But who knows? I gave it a 4.5. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm super, super pumped to read the next one, which, to be fair, I might be over when the next one comes out. Kind of like Shield and Sparrow. Loved that book. I loved it. Second one came out, was confused, stopped reading it. So let's hope that doesn't happen with this one. But I, like I said, really, really enjoy it. It's very easy to get into. The world building isn't too difficult. So if you're into heavy, high fantasy type of books, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe this is more of a palate cleanser. But if you enjoy more easy breezy, lemon squeezy types of books, then I think you will also really enjoy this. Viv is also a character in herself, so do with that information as you will. And she's hot for teacher, and teacher's hot for you, which is a trope that I really enjoy. And it's not a spoiler, it kind of already says it on the back. So then, you know, we had fantasy, we had this, we had that. Of course we were going to read The Daisy Chain Flower Shop. I do have a reading blog out on this, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. This one is about Elliot, and it is about Daisy. Daisy, you guessed it, she owns the flower shop. She is also cursed. I know. People don't want to buy wedding flowers from her because she had like a few weddings back to back where they got divorced within like a year. So people were like, oh no, you're cursed. We can't buy wedding flowers from you. We can buy other flowers from you because you're not cursed for like Valentine's Day or Mother's Day, but you are cursed when it comes to weddings, so we can't do that. And Elliot, he moved to Dream Harbor a year ago, and people are just starting to realize that he's there. He's such a silent character. I think this is one of my least favorite. I think still the gingerbread one is my least favorite one out of all of them. This is like a close second when it comes to not being up there. I feel like Dream Harbor, I think it's going to get 4 more books. I feel like Dream Harbor has had its prime. We're over it. We're done. We don't need more. I did end up giving it 3 stars because I did have fun. Like I did enjoy the story. It's a small town, interconnected standalone, you know. I did enjoy it. It wasn't that, but it's not by any means fantastic. There are other books in the series that I would recommend if you want to try the Dream Harbor series. This is not the one I recommend starting with, but if you want to hear more about it, you can watch the reading vlog. I gave it 3 stars. It was just. Then we went over to Fever Dream. Yes, this is the new series from Elsie Silver. What is it called? Emerald Lake. This is the Emerald Lake series from Elsie Silver. This is book number 1. I think it's going to be 3 or 5 books in this series. Maybe 4? 5? I don't know. There's going to be more. That's all I know. That's all I know. Elsie Silver is one of my favorite authors. So, of course, I jumped straight on it to read it. I do have a reading vlog out on this one as well, but this one is about Julia and it is about Emmett. Emmett is a bull writer. That's how you say it. And Julia works for a production company. Emmett gets the opportunity to be the first lead star in kind of like The Bachelor, but it's called Romance Ranch, where he will date X amount of females and then pick one, you know, he ends up with, and he gets a big cash payout from the production company because he was on Romance Ranch. Julia is also Theo Silver's little sister from the Chestnut Springs series, so there is like some crossover if you want to. I loved it. I loved it so much. I was afraid that like the third act breakup was going to be super corny and weird and all of that. It wasn't. I actually really think the plot twist was pretty decent. And yeah, I don't want to tell you too much. I do have a reading vlog out on it, like I said, but I really enjoyed this. I give it a 4.75. The only reason it's not a 5-star for me, one, it didn't give me a 5-star feeling. It didn't give me a 5-star feeling. And at some point, I just found Emmett to be a little bit insufferable. I don't know. There's something about the way men sometimes act that just makes me go, you're an idiot. And sometimes in a good way and sometimes in a bad way. And this one gave me like a bad feeling. So yeah, 4.75. I really enjoyed it. I'm super hyped for the next one. I don't know who the next one is going to be about, but knowing me and who I am, I probably won't check it. I probably won't look it up just because I don't like spoilers. And I think sometimes knowing who it's about and then you accidentally read the tropes and everything, I don't like it. I don't, okay? Then we went on to, you can't really see what this is, can you? It's We'll Always Have Summer by Jenny Han. It's the 3rd book in the Summer I Turned Pretty series. Now, hear me out. Is this series fantastic? No, not by any means. As an adult, at least. If I was a teenager when I read this series, I would eat that shit up. I would eat it. It would be my personality. I would love it. I would want to be with Conrad. I would want to be with Jeremiah. I would want to be her friend. I would have loved this. As an adult, I understand why it's written for young adult. But it's fun. It's fun. This is a connected series, so I can't really tell you much about what this one is about. What I can tell you is that I felt like this story could have been way better if it was told differently. I thought we got way too much of the before and not enough about the after, which is probably why we're getting a movie after the 3rd season. But yeah, The Summer I Turned Pretty, it's about Belly and it's about Jeremiah and Conrad. Jeremiah and Conrad are brothers. Belly is, well, I mean, a family friend. Her mom and their mom are best friends, and every year they summer together in the summer house at Cousins, which is Conrad and Jeremiah's mother's house. You still with me? Belly also has a brother named Stephen, but he's only there for the plot, so he doesn't really matter. Belly has, since he was little, always had a crush on Conrad, but one summer the boys all of a sudden notice her because she has blossomed into a young woman, aka a teenager. And that's kind of where we go. It is a love triangle with her and, you guessed it, 2 brothers. I would highly recommend it if you have a teenager that just loves, has flair for the romance and dramatics and all of that. If you want to read it as adult, go for it. They are good books, but they're just not fantastic, and you kind of have to look at them through like teenager eyes for them to live up to their full potential. I did end up giving this a 3.5 because it's not my favorite in the series, and I didn't really enjoy the ending. I thought the ending was just not it. It was just not it. I know. So I didn't agree on that one. Also, I know you're gonna ask me what team I'm on. I don't think I'm on any of their teams. I'm kind of on just not Team Belly. Then I read Hold the Reins by, I can't remember her name. You'll see the picture. Now, this was Bestie Book Club's book pick for May. We thought we were going to get a little spicy cowboy romance. Even the MMC points out that he's not a cowboy. It has cowboy boots on the cover. And a hat, I think. I just, no. Just no. No. This is, I can't remember the names for the life of me. That just tells you how much I was invested in this book. What was her name again? I'll look it up. Oh yeah, this one is about Cecilia, or Cece as they call her, and Nash Carter. Nash Carter, the newly retired superstar of the Dallas Stars, he's a hockey player, is Laurel Creek's hometown hero, local business owner, and notorious bachelor. He's also the unofficial fourth sibling in the Ashbin clan. Cece Ashby is finally escaping the toxic relationship that has consumed her entire adult life. She returns to her hometown of Laurel Creek, Kentucky, and to her family equestrian ranch, unsure of what the future holds. So he basically is her brother's best friend. Hello. Okay, thank you. He is her brother's best friend, and she comes home because she's been in a very toxic relationship and needs to get out of there, which I support, by the way. So it's kind of like, I don't know, friends to lovers, brother's best friend type of thing. If you want to read a book for shits and giggles, you can read this one, but you have to remember that it is for shits and giggles, okay? This is their first book. It's their debut novel, and you can kind of see that it is from the way that they are writing the book. Everything is a little bit over explained. You meet characters, like they tell you characters' full names, their age, what their kid's name is, to never hear about them again. So you get information that you don't really need, but it's kind of handed to you as if this is very, very important. Now, I finished it because my friend did, but I didn't really enjoy it. Also, like I said, even Nash goes, I'm not a cowboy. Like, what do you want from me? And it's supposed to be a cowboy romance. It's supposed to be like a ranch type of thing. She's not a cowboy. She's an accountant. And not a TikTok accountant, like a real accountant. Know what I mean? So yeah, no, it's a weird one. I ended up giving it 2 stars. I didn't really enjoy it. I read it for shits and giggles, and that was about it. It didn't make me want to read any more of her books. So if you're interested in reading any of her books, maybe start with a different one. But yeah, that was holding the reins. Still waiting for my cowboy. Still waiting for my cowboy to show up. Okay, last book. Last book of May was none other than Haunting Adeline. And yes, I did forget her name. So this is the second time I'm actually saying this, because I forgot her name was Adeline. I was like, wait, who is this book about again? It's about Adeline. It's about Haunting Adeline. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? Adeline moves to Seattle because she inherits her grandma's mansion or manor. Is that the same thing? I feel like it's the same thing. Does it say mansion or manor on the back here? It says mansion, Gothic mansion. So she inherits that and decides that this is where she's going to live out her life. And, just accidentally gets a stalker, which is Sade Meadows. Now, you've probably heard about this book, up, down, left, right, here, there, whatever. It is a very dark romance, just so you know. And please check your trigger warnings before you read this, because it does get detailed. And not just in the horizontal tango way, but in the, stalking, killing way. So Adeline is just gonna live her best life. Sade decides that he is in love with her, and instead of just charming her and making her fall in love with the false version of him. He's just going to show her straight away what type of man he is so that she knows what she has to deal with. And he just kind of just tells her that the only option she has is to fall in love with him. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. That is the only option, which is exactly how to not get a woman. Anywho, I can see why people enjoy this. I can see why people like it. For me personally, it just got a little bit too out there. And I do understand that that's maybe the point in some dark romances, that it goes so far that you're like, this can't be realistic at all. And I don't mean the stalking. I don't mean him breaking into her house. I mean the fact that he says stuff like, I kill people every single day. Really? And then you turn around and you're like, that's the thing that kind of threw me out of it. I should probably clip that out because it feels like we'll try again. We'll try again. What dragged me out of it was that the things that I feel like should have been a little bit more realistic, they weren't. And I think this is also H.D. Carlton's first book. Like, this is her debut novel. And you could also see it in the writing here. It was over explained. There was a lot of detail to make sure that you know exactly what she meant and why. So I ended up giving that a 2-star as well. It does end on a cliffhanger. The cliffhanger is actually, like, if the next book was shorter, I would read it. Because the cliffhanger really has me wondering what is happening, because there is bad guys, there is stuff happening. The only problem is that, like, the first 400 pages, nothing is happening. Literally nothing is happening, in my humble opinion. I was like, I don't need all of this. I'm gonna calm down. When I say that I feel like a book is wordy, I don't mean that there's too many words in the point of, oh my god. I don't know how to explain it. Okay, when I say that a book is wordy, I mean that the way the sentences are built up are wordy. That you get too much information, just like Holding the Reins. You get too much information that you don't necessarily need. It's over explaining things to you as a reader that doesn't need to get over explained. So that's what I mean when I say that I feel like a book is a little bit wordy. It doesn't necessarily mean that the book needs to be shorter, because you could have added in other stuff if you needed it to be that long, but it just means that it's over explaining, and it's making sure that they dot every single I. There's nothing left for you to do. That's the reason why I don't want to read the second one, because I think the second one is just as long, if it is not. Yeah, I think it's about just as long. And I can't really see, if it takes this long for something to happen, I can't really see it being interesting for 600 pages more. I think I'm just going to Google it, to be honest with you. I think I'm literally just going to Google it and see if I have clocked who's who and why. And if not, fuck me, I guess. But yeah, that was the 10 books that I read in May. Now, we didn't actually end on a high note, because we ended with 2 stars, which isn't the best, I know. But I did pick my June TBR. I have already started it. I think I'm actually going to finish one of them today so I can start the next one. And I think I'm actually going to start one of the summer books that I picked, because it's pissing rain outside and I need some sunshine. It's been pissing down rain for several days. Thank you guys so much for spending some of your precious time with me. I really do appreciate it. How many books did you read in May, and what was your favorite read? Tell it to me so that if I haven't read it, I can put it on my TBR, and hopefully I will get to see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.